Have you ever woken up feeling like something inside you has quietly gone silent, not just your joints or energy, but a deep, unspoken part of your identity? It's a question many people over 60 carry but rarely voice. That fading spark of curiosity, that subtle withdrawal from your own body, that quiet moment at night where touch used to live but now feels replaced by distance. Is it just aging, or something else? We often talk about walking, eating well, and staying mentally active, but we don't talk about this. And yet, this hidden part of our biology plays a surprisingly important role in how our body stays alive, alert, and emotionally vibrant. Here's the truth: most doctors won't bring up in a waiting room, but neuroscience and endocrinology quietly confirm it behind research papers and medical journals when we stop engaging with our body's natural intimacy. Even in the privacy of our own quiet moments, things begin to shift. Not just desire, but hormone regulation, sleep rhythms, mental clarity, blood flow, and even emotional connection. This isn't about youth or lust. This is about the human need for stimulation, warmth, and self-recognition at every age. So if you've stopped, or never started, here's what you may not realize is happening behind the scenes of your own body and mind. This is Senior Strength, your calm guide for stronger legs, better balance, and a healthy life after 60. Subscribe if you're ready to feel confident in your body again. First, let's go back to the brain, because that's where everything begins. When you stop giving your nervous system intentional stimulation, it begins to downregulate the production of dopamine and oxytocin. Dopamine is your motivation and reward chemical. It's what gives you energy, curiosity, joy. Oxytocin is the connection hormone. It tells your body you are safe, held, and emotionally stable. Without regular surges of these, especially through self-touch or intimacy, seniors report feeling flat, disconnected, and emotionally cold. A man in his late 60s once said he didn't feel depressed, he just didn't feel anything. When his therapist recommended reconnecting with his body through gentle touch, breathing, and mindfulness, he noticed something subtle. Colors seemed brighter. Music moved him again. He even laughed more easily. That's not magic, it's neurobiology. Next, consider your blood flow. The pelvic region houses some of the body's most dense vascular networks. But with age, these blood vessels become more prone to stagnation, plaque buildup, and nerve desensitization. Without regular, even mild arousal and stimulation, that blood flow slows, which can quietly contribute to issues like erectile dysfunction, vaginal dryness, reduced bladder control, and even numbness in the legs and lower back. But with just a few minutes of engagement each week, you're encouraging healthy circulation that doesn't just affect intimacy, it strengthens core muscle tone, improves bowel function, and supports nerve signaling to your spine and hips. It's a form of internal exercise, invisible to others, but powerful to your inner vitality. You don't need intensity, you need consistency. Like watering a plant that hasn't bloomed in years. Suddenly, the roots wake up. Then there's the lymphatic system, your body's built-in detox mechanism. Unlike your heart, it doesn't have a pump, it relies on movement. Self-pleasure, believe it or not, is one of the few natural movements that gently stimulates your pelvic diaphragm and surrounding lymph nodes. This helps flush out waste products, support immune function, and reduce inflammation in tissues around the prostate, uterus, and bladder. When seniors ignored this system, it doesn't shut down, but it slows. You might feel more sluggish, more achy in the hips, more prone to urinary tract issues, or even low-level swelling in the lower limbs. One elderly woman found that her recurrent UTs were eased not just by hydration and cranberry, but by reconnecting with her body in a personal, intentional way. Her doctor quietly nodded. "It's circulation," he said, and it was Let's talk hormones. Yes, testosterone and estrogen decline with age, but they don't disappear. The endocrine system operates on feedback. When your body receives signals that touch and desire are still welcome, even gently, it keeps those hormonal pathways engaged. This supports everything from energy levels to bone density to emotional regulation. Without it, fatigue sets in deeper. Muscles lose tone faster. Skin loses elasticity. You may even notice yourself becoming more reactive emotionally, more anxious, less grounded, less resilient. These aren't just personality changes, they're hormonal consequences. A 72-year-old widow once said that after reintroducing personal pleasure into her routine, she didn't just feel more alive. Her hot flashes reduced, her skin felt softer, and her confidence returned. That's the quiet magic of hormonal balance, and it doesn't end at menopause or retirement. Let's pause and reflect for a moment. Does any of this resonate with you? Have you felt that hidden shift inside yourself, but didn't have the words to name it? Let me know in the comments. Do you believe your body still deserves touch, even if no one else is around to give it? And don't forget to subscribe here. At Senior Strength, we talk about the things that matter quietly, but deeply. We can't leave out the impact on sleep. When you stimulate your body in a way that ends in relaxation, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural rest and digest state. This calms the heart, lowers blood pressure, and prepares the brain for deep, restorative sleep. Seniors who engage in gentle self-pleasure report fewer awakenings at night, shorter time falling asleep, and deeper REM cycles which are critical for memory consolidation and emotional processing. One retired teacher said she hadn't slept through the night in 15 years until she began treating intimacy as part of her evening wind-down. For her, it wasn't about fantasy, it was about biology. And she slept like a child for the first time in decades. That's what happens when we treat our nervous system like it still matters, because it does. And there's the emotional layer, perhaps the most overlooked. When we lose physical connection with our bodies, we begin to lose the sense that we belong to ourselves. Touch isn't just about pleasure, it's about ownership, familiarity, presence. Seniors who remain physically affectionate with themselves report higher levels of self-esteem, body acceptance, and even purpose. You don't need a partner to feel sensual or alive. You need curiosity and the permission to still feel good. A man in his 80s once said that he massages his legs every night, not out of pain, but out of gratitude. They still work, he smiled, and that small act became his ritual of dignity. The same is true of private touch. It reminds you that this body is yours. Not a burden, not a shame, but a living, responsive companion through time. Now, you may be wondering, what if I've never done this, or don't feel comfortable? That's okay. Start with awareness, breath, warmth, sensation. There is no pressure here, only permission. You are not broken, outdated, or inappropriate. You are alive. Your nervous system still listens. Your skin still feels. Your heart still beats with longing for connection, if that connection is with yourself. This isn't about youth. It's about being human. So, let's review the quiet truth. When you stop masturbating or gently stimulating your body in old age, your dopamine drops, your circulation slows, your lymphatic system becomes sluggish, your hormones decline faster, your sleep suffers, and your emotional connection to your own body fades. But when you honor that part of yourself, even quietly, even alone, you reclaim vitality, resilience, softness, and strength. And that's the essence of aging well, not just surviving, but feeling alive in your own skin. If you made it this far, thank you. You are brave, open, and deeply human. Don't let shame steal this part of your health. Let touch, breath, and awareness be your medicine. You are not done becoming. This is SeniorStrengthYourSafe.com, space for honest health, strong legs, and a life that still feels good. Subscribe for more science-backed, heart-forward truths, and always remember, the body doesn't forget how to feel. It waits for you to remember. So let's go deeper, not just into the body, but into the psychology behind it. You see, the reason most seniors avoid this topic isn't because they don't care. It's because somewhere along the way, they were taught to be silent about it. Maybe religion told them it was wrong. Maybe family culture said it was shameful. Maybe society whispered that pleasure was only for the young, for the beautiful, for the romantic. And so they tucked it away, decade after decade, until their body stopped asking, and their heart stopped wondering. But here's the truth that science now knows, and that wise healers have always known. Suppression doesn't create peace. It creates distance from your body, your joy, your hormones, and your health. The moment we stop listening to what we silently crave, we begin to age, not just in body, but in spirit. That's why so many elders feel like ghosts in their own skin, not because they are dying, but because they have stopped feeling. Let me tell you something no one else will. This is not your fault. You were never taught how to stay connected to your sensuality as you aged. You were given creams for wrinkles, pills for blood pressure, and brochures for retirement homes, but no one taught you how to stay in love with your own body. But you can begin now. You can start by simply closing your eyes and placing your hands over your heart. Breathe, feel your own warmth. That's not just skin, that's aliveness. That's yours. And from there you can slowly begin to awaken the parts of you that you were told to numb, whether it's through gentle self-massage, warm baths with intention, or quiet moments of arousal without shame. You are allowed to feel good in your own body. You are allowed to be alone without being lonely. You are allowed to age and still crave touch, not from another, but from yourself. Now, let's return to the body, the physical miracles still waiting inside of you. Did you know that regular self-stimulation increases nitric oxide levels in your blood? Nitric oxide is a molecule that relaxes blood vessels, lowers blood pressure, and improves oxygen delivery throughout the body, especially in the brain and heart. In younger adults, it's often released through movement and exercise, but in seniors, the easiest way to boost it is through intentional stimulation. That's why studies show that elders who remain sexually active or maintain private intimacy rituals have better cardiovascular health, improved memory, and lower inflammation markers. One 78-year-old widow shared in a clinical interview that she practices joyful body time every Sunday morning, just a few minutes of soft touch and slow breathing. She no longer needs blood pressure medication. Her doctor was amazed. She smiled and said, "I just returned to my body." That's not coincidence. That's science and self-respect. Let's look deeper into nerve health. Aging affects nerve conduction speed. This is why seniors often experience tingling hands, numb feet, or reduced sensitivity in private areas. But nerves, like muscles, respond to use. The more you stimulate them gently, consistently, the more they stay alive. Self-touch, arousal, and even erotic thoughts stimulate the pudendal nerve, the pelvic plexus, and the sacral roots of the spinal cord. These pathways are essential not just for pleasure, but for bladder control, bowel health, posture, and even core strength. A man in his late 60s who struggled with back pain and frequent urination was advised to engage in mindful pelvic stimulation combined with breathing and hip stretches. In 3 months, his symptoms improved dramatically. "No one tells you this," he said, "but I'm living proof it works." You don't need intensity. You need presence. Think of it like watering a bonsai tree. It doesn't take much, but it must be consistent. Your nerves remember what you forget. Bring them back. And now let's explore the emotional restoration that comes when you reconnect with your body this way. Seniors who engage in healthy private intimacy rituals report lower levels of shame, depression, and loneliness. That's because self-touch isn't just physical, it's psychological. It tells your inner child, your inner elder, and your nervous system, I am still here. It teaches your mind that you are not forgotten, not broken, not outdated. You are still worthy of affection even if the world no longer rushes to give it. A woman who spent 40 years in a marriage without intimacy said she discovered self-love after her husband passed. "I used to think this part of me had died," she said. "Now, I think it was just asleep." Since then, she says her anxiety has decreased, her self-worth has blossomed, and her connection to her own reflection has softened. This is what happens when we remove shame from the mirror and replace it with reverence. And what about movement? Do you know how many joints are activated during climax? The spine, hips, knees, shoulders, wrists, diaphragm all work together in a beautiful, involuntary rhythm. This movement stimulates synovial fluid in the joints, which helps reduce stiffness and arthritis symptoms. It also improves proprioception, your body's awareness of space, which means better balance and fall prevention. One physical therapist even incorporates sensual movement into her senior yoga classes, not erotic, but embodied. They walk taller after, she said. It's like they remember they have a pelvis. That's powerful. You don't have to be flexible. You just have to be present. Movement is medicine, and your body is waiting to dance again even if the music is quiet. And now a gentle truth about grief. Many seniors withdraw from touch because they've lost someone, their partner, their youth, or their own sense of vitality. Touch begins to feel like betrayal, like a memory too painful to awaken. But let me offer another view. What if touching yourself, with tenderness, is honoring what you lost, not forgetting it? What if it's saying, I am still here, I am still worthy of feeling alive? You can miss someone and still hold yourself. You can age and still desire. You can grieve and still awaken pleasure. These are not contradictions. These are truths, layered inside your humanity. So ask yourself gently, what part of your body have you abandoned, not out of hate, but out of habit? And what would it mean to slowly come back, not for anyone else, not to perform, but to remember that this is your skin, your breath, your pulse. You are not too old for pleasure. You are not too late for self-love. You are not too broken to feel whole. This is the medicine we never got, the whisper that says, touch is not a sin. It's a signal that you are alive, that you are still home. Thank you for being here. This is Senior Strengths, where science meets soul, where healing meets honesty, where you learn that even after 60, you still belong to yourself. Subscribe for more calm/caring and courageous truth. And remember, it's not about youth. It's about staying present in the body you've earned, loved, and lived in. Your body is not a burden. It's a memory of joy waiting for you to remember the sound of your own heartbeat. Let's take a moment to talk about memory. Yes, your actual memory. Because what you may not realize is that your brain's ability to store and retrieve memories, especially emotional ones, is intimately tied to your sensory body. When we engage in self-touch, even gently, we stimulate regions of the brain like the hippocampus and amygdala, areas responsible for memory formation and emotional processing. Many seniors report that after years of disconnection, a simple act of personal intimacy can bring back waves of forgotten experiences, dreams, laughter, and old feelings. That's not nostalgia, that's neurological reactivation. One 84-year-old poet said that after one quiet moment of private intimacy, she remembered a song her mother used to hum in the garden when she was 5. I thought I'd lost that part of me, she said, but it wasn't my skin waiting. That's the mystery of the body. It stores your life, and the more you awaken it, the more your story comes back. Let's move lower to the pelvic floor. This invisible set of muscles is the unsung hero of aging well. It supports your bladder, bowel, sexual organs, and spine. But here's the problem. Most seniors have weak pelvic floors, and they don't know it until it's too late. Incontinence, prolapse, erectile dysfunction, and chronic lower back pain are all signs. Now here's the miracle: you can strengthen your pelvic floor, not just with kegels but with gentle arousal. Every time you engage your body in intimacy, those muscles contract rhythmically. That means with every breath, every movement, every whisper of sensation, you are literally exercising the most hidden and essential muscle group in your entire core. A retired nurse once told me, my doctor gave me pelvic therapy exercises, But nothing worked until I started pleasuring myself again quietly, kindly, once a week. My posture improved. My bladder calmed. My hips stopped aching. That's not scandalous. That's strength. And your body is craving it too. Let's talk about identity now. Not gender or labels, but your identity as a feeling, deserving, alive person. When you stop touching yourself, something psychological happens. You slowly begin to believe that you are no longer allowed to feel good, that you are now in the maintenance phase of life where your job is to survive, manage medications, and accept decline. But the human spirit cannot thrive in survival mode. It needs aliveness, and aliveness needs pleasure, even if that pleasure is soft, even if it's quiet, even if it's just a hand on your chest while you breathe. A man in his late 70s who battled depression for years said that reclaiming sensuality, not sex, but self-touch made him feel human again. For the first time in years, he whispered, I didn't feel like just an old man waiting to die. I felt like someone who mattered. And that shift, though invisible to the world, changed everything. He walked taller. He started writing. Again, he smiled without force. That's what happens when you give yourself permission to matter. Now let's enter the sacred part, the spiritual layer, because beyond the hormones, the circulation, the muscle tone, there is something else, something older, something primal and profound. In many ancient traditions, self-touch was seen as a form of prayer, a way to connect with the divine, not through words, but through the body. Your body is a temple. Yes, but temples are not just places of silence. They are places of feeling, of breath, of warmth, of reverence. So what if your private moments of touch could be more than just physical relief? What if they could be a spiritual act of reclaiming your worth, of saying to the universe, I am still sacred, I am still home. This isn't about indulgence. This is about integration, bringing your soul back into your skin, reuniting your spirit with a body it chose to live in. Whether you call it energy, God, soul, or simply presence, this moment of return is yours, and it begins with one soft breath, one gentle hand, one silent yes. You see, the greatest danger of aging is not death, it's numbness. It's that slow slipping away of sensation, meaning, desire. And when you stop touching yourself not just sexually, but lovingly, you accelerate that numbness. Your body stops speaking. Your emotions flatten, your memory dulls, your spirit closes its eyes. But when you begin again, and softly, slowly, you send a message to every cell. Wake up. You tell your blood to move, your hormones to dance, your nerves to fire, your heart to hope. And most importantly, you tell yourself, I am still here. So, if no one has told you this yet, let me be the first. You are not dirty. You are not shameful. You are not ridiculous for craving closeness with yourself. You are wise, brave, alive, and your decision to awaken pleasure in old age is not a regression into immaturity, is a return to wholeness. You are allowed to feel joy in your own hands. You are allowed to fall in love with your own skin. You are allowed to be alone, but never lonely. This is your body, not broken, not expired, but sacred. And if you choose today to reconnect with it, to reclaim it, to honor it in silence, then you are not just aging, you are evolving. This is senior strength, and you are strong, even in softness. Subscribe, stay close, and return home to the only place you've ever really lived, your beautiful, breathing, feeling body.